Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the latest episode of Hot in Talks. You're joined as always by myself, Scott, Aaron, and Jamie. Boys, how are we?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, good. Azzy, you all right?
Yep, not too bad, mate.
Good. Just jumping on because we have just Villa complete the signing of Alejandro Garnacho today. Been confirmed. Been a few rumours the last few days. The last episode we done last week, we were kind of looking at Manzambi, Gomez. They weren't done, but they were pretty much done. So we're going to jump on, talk Garnacho, talk Rodgers, and just kind of give our thoughts on it. We'll start with a positive about Garnacho before we come on to Morgan. Azzy, I'll let you go first. Would you happy with this signing? Because it has caused a huge stir online, not just from Villa fans.
I think the way that we play and the way that Emery deals with his players, I think he will be a good signing. But there's always that question mark around him, isn't there, with his attitude, the way he trains. Overall, I'm not negative about the signing at all. He offers us that width and that pace, and on his day, he can be a very good player. So no, I'm not in a negative camp, but obviously questions marks will be asked if he doesn't perform or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's an intelligent signing. There we go.
Yeah, as I was saying just then, I think that there's Villa signing a player. Been a lot of talk from a lot of other clubs about Villa signing Garnacho, and 95% of what I've seen has been negative.
Yeah, I've seen a lot saying, "Can you believe Villa replace Rodgers with Garnacho and stuff like that?" But I wouldn't say he's like an out and out Rodgers replacement. If anything, if we don't say we sign no one else in this window, I would say Manzambi's more of a Rodgers player rather than Garnacho. Rodgers
Man,
wasn't an out and out winger, was he? We needed an out and out winger, like we
yeah,
said last week. So,
Manzambi is definitely the Rodgers replacement.
mm.
Jay, your thoughts on it? Obviously, like I said, it's been kind of lingering for a few days, but now it's confirmed. Thoughts and feelings?
Yeah, personally for me, I'm buzzing. I haven't really seen too many positive sort of things about it. Reactions to the loan deal, but yeah, I'm really happy. I think this time last year, I think all Villa fans, when that picture came out of him in the Villa kit, everyone was kind of hoping we'd sign him. Obviously, we couldn't physically afford that deal, and I think when the rumours weren't really there, I think last week on the podcast, Scott, you actually mentioned Garnacho, I think, at the end, didn't you? And I think it's, for me, I think it's a perfect fit. He predominantly plays on the left, can play on the right. He doesn't have outrageous pace, but he has more than what we have currently. He's definitely, from off the top of my head, the fastest winger would have. He For what he lacks in that blistering pace, the timing of his runs are really good. I don't know if you remember that when we got beat 4-1 at home to Chelsea, he tore Cash a new one, who was arguably our player of the season, and his timing of his runs was what got the better of Cash, because I wouldn't say he's too much quicker than Cash, but the ball he got on the end of every ball over the top because the timing of his runs was so good. The only thing I'd say about it, again positive, is that he, in his professional career, he hasn't had stability. And it's, you look at United, you look at some of the managers he's had, like we're talking back to Ralph Ragnick. he had the period under Van Nistelrooy. He's had some bad managers and such an unstable club. He then goes to Chelsea last season, didn't have a pre-season because United weren't letting him train at their ground, so he didn't have a pre-season. Went to Chelsea. They had 3 separate managers last season, and it was an absolute shit show, really. He hasn't, so in his professional career, he hasn't had a stable club. He hasn't had a stable manager. Like, he hasn't had a season where the manager stayed there for longer than that season. So, and for how good he was at United, and I just think, like, in a way, we can't lose, because from what we hear, the loan deal to make permanent is appearance based, and that's perfect because, yeah, it's like the early situation, but it's in our hands. If we'd done it based on qualifying for Champions League, we could still qualify for the Champions League and him be awful, and then we're screwed, because if we'd done that for Sancho and Elliott, we're here with 2 players that we can't offload. Whereas worst case, we bring him in, say it's 20 appearances he has to get in all comps. If it's that, and we get to appearance 15 and Emery's like, actually no, then we can control that. Yeah, he doesn't play, it's awkward, but we can control that. And it's an Emery signing. Elliot wasn't. But yeah, I saw another stat as well from AVFC Stato saying that when he played for Chelsea last season, their win percentage was 76, I want to say. And when he didn't play, their win percentage dropped to 21. And all the games I watched last season, I actually thought he weren't actually that bad. Every time he plays against Villa, I think his most goal involvements he has is against Villa. I've always rated him, always have. He has, like I said, he hasn't had a stable manager before, not at a stable club. If this is a stopgap for him, and in 3-4 years' time he has his eyes set on something bigger, then that's fine by me, because I don't, like we were saying beforehand, we're not at that elite level yet. We want to get there, but we're in that Tottenham when they just got Pochettino sort of bit at the minute. Whereas if he comes in and he has his sights on what Rashford was doing with Barcelona or Madrid or whatever it is, to get that move, he must have done well for Villa. So I'm fine by that, if you know what I mean. So for me, it's a brilliant deal for us. It's a loan. It's a initial loan. If it don't work out, we don't end up signing him. Gives us exactly what we need: Champions League experience, Premier League experience. He's young, so it suits Alabe's sort of president he's trying to put into the club, which is what we've seen with Manzambi and Gomez as well, and Maggio obviously last winter. So it suits everything we need. And I feel like when he puts the Claret and Blue shirt on, a lot of Villa fans will give him that clean slate. You know, Villa fans, all they want is people that are hardworking. And if you watch him in games, defensively, he isn't as bad as what people say. He is a hard worker. It's all the stuff that you don't see off the pitch that people scrutinise him for. But again, unstable surroundings. Given Unai, he's the master of turning these players that were up here, now they're down here. He needs to shoot them back up there. We saw it with Rashford, saw it with McGinn when he first came in as well. Everyone was calling for him to be sold. Now he's arguably our best player. So, yeah, for me, I'm all over the signing. I'm not. Yeah, I think we'll look back on it as being one of the best bits of business we've done recently. I think.
Do you want to take a breath?
Yeah, man, I'm buzzing, man. I'm absolutely buzzing. I don't know if you can tell I'm buzzing.
I agree with what both of you said. I think I was going through the messages on our Villa chat, and the one that I screenshotted in was a year ago. And I've been saying about Garnacho for ages. I think a lot of what people are saying, like if you saw Rory Jennings on TalkSport with Gabby yesterday.
What a twat he is! I can't stand the fucker.
Pretty disgusting, really.
Is that him or is that him or Gabby?
What Rory Jennings was saying was awful, and I really think like Garnacho now has the chance to prove a lot of people wrong, and what a perfect place to do it. I think from a Villa point of view, what did we lack last season in terms of the squad? We lacked a natural winger that hugged the touchline. Like you said, Jay, he's not like rapid, but good acceleration across 10 yards to literally try and beat his man and get across him. Is he the end product? No, but he's a good age that if he does well for us for 3-4 years, we've got to sell on there, and Villa need to also be thinking about that. Has he got good experience? Yes, and he scores some good goals. I don't think it's the goals. I was watching some videos earlier. He scores a lot of good goals. Yeah, I don't know. And I think, like you said, the minute that he puts on the first game in the front of the whole end, Villa love a winger, someone that's going to have a go, attack the fullback. Whenever we had that, really, other than say El Ghazi and Ashley Young in the last 15 years, you know, we've really a lot of wingers. And to everyone that's kind of kicking off about it, concentrate on your own fucking clubs. You know what I mean?
I think he is definitely going to be changing the way he plays. Obviously, last couple of seasons, he likes having the 210s as wingers, doesn't he? Who come in, and obviously, and then we had like the deep line playmaker, which we haven't really got at the moment, unless he brings someone else in. So it looks like he's going for more stability in the midfield and bringing in an out-and-out winger. But
depending on who else we sign, I've got a feeling that he's going to want us to be quite combative in the middle, and it's going to be win the ball back, get it wide quick, hit teams on the counter. If depending on who else we bring in, because at the moment you'd probably say strongest 11, Garnacho's left and McGinn's right still, with probably Kamara and Gomez with Manzambi as the 10. But I think the other thing that will help Garnacho is if we bring another winger in, it would take it off, as much pressure on. If it's the only winger we bring in, I would still have a question mark that we need more in that area, especially if Bailey goes. But obviously, where we stand right now, we don't know what's going to happen. We're still a good month or so of the window left. But I don't think he should be the only winger we sign. We need a right winger really as well. But obviously, we'll come on to that as
I reckon him with Watkins will be a very good link up. Like the way that Watkins moves, and it just gives us that pace for someone else. Like when Watkins moves out wide, and you don't really have that like inside forward, if you know what I mean. I know Rodgers used to do it sometimes, but I think him and Watkins will link up quite well personally.
I don't know if any of you saw come out about 20 minutes ago. Jacob Townswell put a tweet out saying that about the clubs in Turkey, the interest is legit for Watkins. And he said,
wasn't it?
Yeah, he said Villa haven't ruled out a transfer. They basically left up to Watkins. And the only thing that kind of try and play devil's advocate being negative is that we've heard a lot of interest, obviously, about this whole Jackson thing. And Emery's desperate to get him. Obviously, he's not going to get him all the time. We have Tammy and Watkins there. But yeah, he said the interest from Turkey is legit. It's up to the player. But if you're a player, you want your managers to say, you know what, we want you here. You don't want to be like, okay, if you want to go. But if we're going to sell Watkins to get any form of decent money, especially from Turkey, because they generally overpay for their players, we could get good-ish money for someone of his age. I wouldn't sell personally because he guarantees you goals. I want Watkins to play for us 100%. But if he does go, you can see obviously the money coming in from that. Whether or not it happens, I don't think Watkins has that sort of. I think he wants the 100 Premier League goals. You spoke about it quite a bit.
If you were to now sell Ollie and Konsa, you've ripped up too much of the team.
Yeah, 100%. I think even one of them, I think what we've done already, Luke Dean, Tielemans and Rodgers, I think that is even too much in itself.
I'll tell you what, though, if you say you sold Watkins and went and got like a Dusan, is it Dusan Vlahovic, who's been released by Juventus? He's on a free transfer.
I
would be happy with that.
The thing is, though, is that with Vlahovic, is that his wages will absolutely shred us for what we're trying to build. Because the reason he didn't agree to deal with Juve is he wanted something like 350.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, this is why. Yeah, it wasn't because he wanted out. He couldn't agree on a new contract, and he said he loved the club. And it's like, well, if you love the club, take a wage cut, because they couldn't afford the wages that he wanted. And I think he was already on a wedge. He was already on just over 200, and he wanted just over 3, I'm pretty sure. But before we move on, going back to what you were saying, as I think you're right about, we're going to see a different style of play. He's going for that more sort of physical, combative sort of, we're gonna outrun you, and we're gonna overpower you sort of model. That's what it seems anyway. And you can see the transition from when Emery first came in, when straight away got Moreno in, and we had that very basic tucking in on the right, Cashy tucking in on the right, Moreno bombing on, and then we had the phase of the high press, which we done at the start of when we ended up qualifying Champions League for the first time. We had the high press sort of one, and then we had that time when Kamara dropped in, and we had the back five, and the wing backs were pushing on, and we've always had that double pivot. And I feel like last year the main sort of phase was the outside the box shots, and that was because of Rodgers. Really, we knew he could hit it from distance, and a lot of his goals came from outside the box. So we fashioned chances to get him in areas where he could have a dig from 25 yards out. So we've gone through all these phases, and now it's down to Unai to come up with another phase where we catch him out again. And it might be the case where we have an out-and-out winger on the left-hand side in Garnacho, because we've never had that. We've only ever had it on the right with Bailey. So I'm interested to see how that works with a more physical presence in midfield and an out-and-out winger, hopefully, maybe, either side. We really don't know. But it's exciting times for sure.
The one thing that you could throw, actually two things you could throw at Villa. under Emery is that they've been too nice and that we lack pace out wide. So I think if we're seeing it, then maybe that's what he's trying to address. Nice little segment into Rodgers there. To wrap it up, let's first rank the signing out of 10 for Garnacho.
7.5.
Joe?
I'll go 9 because it's a loan deal, so we can't really lose.
I'll go 8. I think, yeah.
Very well balanced take then from us three.
I'm for it. Right, Morgan Rodgers. Obviously, the last one we did, we didn't really touch on it too much. Looked like he was going to Arsenal if he was going to go, and then Saturday night out of the blue, he goes to fucking Chelsea. Listen, the price is the price. I think Middlesbrough getting 15 million, Villa get about 102. Just that it's Chelsea, it makes no sense to me. But Jay, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm more heartbroken about the Tielemans one. I feel like the Rodgers one, people outside of Villa think he's our best player. For me, he's not. Don't get me wrong, he is one of our better players for sure, and he helped us out so much last year. But very much, he's either either an 8+ or he's a 4 out of 10. You know, and he had that period from November to late December where he just tore it up. Best player in one of the best players in the world. But then start the season, and especially towards the end, like in that kind of 3/4 mark, heading towards the end of the season, he was awful. Really, people were calling him for he dropped out of the team. End of the day, 117 million. He isn't a 117 million pound player in my eyes. I would have been happy if we got around the 85 mark for what the market is today. I would have been happy with that. But to get that amount of money, and for what journalists are saying, Arsenal weren't willing to pay more than that 85, 90. Villa said, look, we want 130. Arsenal said, no way. Chelsea basically came in with a blank check and just said, look, this is what, right on whatever, and we're going to take him, basically. And they came in well over, because I think, even if Arsenal went just that bit more, we might have budged, but that they went well over in my eyes. And like I said, not our biggest loss, because I feel like we're going to lose. We're going to hurt more from the loss of Tielemans than we will Rodgers. And one Rodgers we could definitely move on from. And I don't think it's going to be a direct replacement, because how are you going to replace someone that's just been sold for a British record transfer? Like, you're not. We're going to have to adapt the way we play. Whereas we relied heavily on Rodgers. It might be the case that Manzambi and Garnacho share that load. I really don't know, but we can move on from Rodgers. That isn't a big loss in my eyes compared to Tielemans. Obviously, it's a big loss, but yeah, compared to Tielemans, it's not. Yeah,
I said exactly the same to my mate Dickie, who's Chelsea. I said, he asked me about it. I said, I'm not saying he's one of our. He is one of our better players, obviously. Otherwise, he wouldn't go for that money. But the Tielemans one is more concerning. I think Rodgers is more replaceable. And like you said, good money. As are your thoughts when that story broke and it was Chelsea, not Arsenal?
I'm surprised. For me, he's taken a backward step just for where the two clubs are at the moment. If you said to me at the start of the transfer window, would you sell Rodgers? It would have been a no. But when someone offers you 117 million, I don't think you can turn it down. So, like James said, he's replaceable, Rodgers. Like certain games last year, he got us through. He won us games, but on average, 1 in 4 games. Did you say 1 in 3 games? He was our best player. 1 in 4 games over the season. So yeah, I'm not like, I can't believe he's gone, but replaceable quite easily, and wish him well and move on, basically.
The only thing I'd say about Rodgers that he gave us that sort of X factor. Even when he weren't on it, he was a player that would try to pass that, like, not wouldn't come off, but he would try that risky pass. And you need players like that in your team. And going back to Garnacho has always kind of done that. He'll try something, and if it doesn't come off, he'll still try it again. He's always he won't just try it, get booed by the crowd and put his head down. I haven't seen, so I know he's like that. I haven't seen enough of Manzambi to say if he's that sort of player or not. But the only thing I will say, as a negative to losing Rodgers is we need that sort of X factor from somewhere. We had it in Bailey a few years ago, as well as probably Watkins that season. We had it with Rodgers. We've had it with Duran as well. We need that. We need someone that you look at and think they're going to drag us over the line here. Hopefully, if Watkins has another good season or Garnacho steps up, Manzambi, McGinn, whoever it is, we need that someone that we can look at and think, do you know what? I can't see us losing this game. Because that was times when I looked at Rodgers and I thought, well, when he's on it, I know we won't lose. West Ham, we went behind twice and I knew that I was there and I was chatting to someone next to me and I said, like we were talking about Rodgers and I was like, I have zero fear. Like, I know that we're going to win this game because he was in that sort of purple patch sort of run and I was so confident. That's the only thing I think we might lack. If we can, hopefully someone step up to the plate with that, I think we'll be okay.
I think we also got to give credit to Unai and the club as well. Obviously, 12 million was it we signed him for, and they're selling for £105 million profit. You got to give Unai, because I think Unai was the one who wanted them in the first place. So
I think it was done on their pre-match.
Yeah, so you got to give them credit for the deal to bring him in and the deal to let him go as well.
Yeah, I think it screams really. I think that's wrong with modern day football at that level though, because he's not playing any European football. Chelsea really, since Blueco come in, have been a mess. Yes, Xabi Alonso could be a great manager, but you can't even compare him and Emery at the moment for what they've done. People seem to be saying, "Oh, the Xabi Alonso pull." There's no pull in comparison to Emery. Don't be so stupid.
I say it's a step backwards for me. If I'm wrong, I think it's a step backwards.
And I'm not saying recent history tells you that they've won a lot of trophies and a lot of things, but there's a lot of big problems there as well. And the one thing he got at Villa was patience, because no matter how bad he played, Emery would always play him. I don't think he was up at Chelsea. But listen, it's none of our concern now. Hopefully, going on the X Factor comment, Jay, is that it's not just, like I said earlier, it's not just Garnacho that we're bringing in the forward area. I think we need one more of that kind of ilk to link up with Garnacho and Manzambi. And then when you're throwing in Buendia, McGinn, you've obviously got a few options, but what will be. We will stay on top of it. And yeah, I think that's about it really. Just Garnacho's in the building, number 17. Be a few shirts with that on the back, and Rodgers is out the building, but Unai is still in the building, and really that's the main thing that matters.
Alejandro.
Alejandro. Anyway, yeah, up the Garnacho. What does everyone else know? Right, we'll wrap it up there. We'll be back next week. We'll see what will happen in the next 6 or 7 days, won't we? Because at the moment with Villa, you never know really what's going to happen.
It's coming literally like every day. There's something new. Like as soon as we announced Garnacho, it came out that Estepinian's transfer has been blocked. So it's like, okay, so we'll probably go look at another left back option now. It changes all the time. Bailey could go to Hull City tomorrow, and then all of a sudden we're going to sign a right winger. So it changes every day.
Yeah. We'll be back next week and we'll cover whatever's happened. We really good views on our last video, so hopefully we'll aim for that again. But up the Garnacho, up the Emery, up the Villa.
Up the Villa.